So, thinking about being an entrepreneur. So, when we think about the corporate world, we think about our 9 to 5 or our 8 to 4 or our 7 to 3, depending on your genre or what you work, or maybe our 12-hour shifts. If we think about some of our healthcare workers, right? They're going in from 7 a to 7 p or 7 p to 7 a. But let's say I'm in my traditional, we'll use the term traditional, right? My traditional, I go to work, I clock in, or I have a salary.
Traditional, yeah.
But thank you. But now we're to a point where we're getting ready to start our business, right? So what happens? Have you ever been in a situation, let's start it here. Have you ever been in a situation where you actually were working a 9 to 5, but you needed to begin movement on this entrepreneur business that you've already started, or you need to start? One, have you ever been in that position? And two, if so, how do you balance that?
Well, unfortunately, I have not had that experience, as well as fortunately as well. But I can say, when graduating from college, that was my intention to get into the corporate world. I love structure. I'm like, tell me what to do, I'll get it done. Boom, I can go be creative in my own space. But that's not what God wanted for me. I always say entrepreneurship definitely chose me. But I have, through my entrepreneurial journey, I've worked with a lot of different startups, nonprofits, entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs. And so through that, built a lot of relationships and partnerships. And now I'm in the position where I'm a founder of my company as well as a nonprofit. So I can say this has been a corporate experience I've created for myself, because I'm the VP of this organization that has like a 15-person staff, 100 volunteers, and I'm co-pilot, but literally steering it from accounting to strategic planning to meeting with board members to fundraising so all those different things, in addition to me really building my brand as a productivity coach and helping entrepreneurs. And so when we talk about balance, I always preach the message of daily success and focusing on the day and conquering the day. I think it's important to plan long term, but it gets overwhelming. There's a lot of things that you're uncertain about, but what you can be sure of is what happens today. And so I think time management is the absolute key, and being honest with yourself. And I can talk about this forever, all day long, because I call it reality checks. So I'll plan out things and I'll brainstorm things, but then when the day arrives, I'm like, let me reality check my schedule, because realistically, I can only get one thing done a day. And then I could probably get that thing done. But, like I said, I can talk about that all day, but I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys give your stories.
Okay, well, I am similar. I've never, ever, ever worked corporate. And so it's just not my experience. But what I do know is from the journey is entrepreneurship is a choice. And so when you talk about balance, if you are going to choose to start the business, you have to choose to be committed before you start, because you're not going to go into a 9 to 5 and give them everything and then have work your business. And so one thing I can honestly say is starting the business already takes faith. I've been entrepreneurs out of high school. I didn't even go the college route.
Better take my follow-up question.
Yes. Listen, I didn't even have like the college experience. I just went dead in and been there ever since. And so when I see people and even friends and family struggle with balancing 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship, one thing that I see that has been reoccurring is no plan. No plan. You have no idea how long you want to be here, how long this is going to be for, finances, how long do I need to stay here to make this, to fund this. So I would honestly say to balance it is to actually write it out, to actually have a plan, and to, like she said, even down to your day, taking the 24 hours, if 9 to 5, 8 of those hours is at a job, What does the remainder look like, and what does that look like for my business, and being intentional about giving your business the hours that you said you were going to give it. So that's what really I can say about that. Being that I've never been in 9 to 5, I can honestly say it will have more balance if you gave it the proper time and energy and consistency that you should when you planned it. So that's what I'll say on that.
I guess I'm the only one up here at a job.
Amen.
Okay.
I did 10 years in the military. Got out the military. I was in education for 5 years as a teacher. I've been an actor for 10 years, right? Of those 10 years, I've been a professional actor 5 years. Professional meaning you pay me for my talent, okay? So when it comes to when do you leave the job, notes. Here's some notes.
Okay.
This young lady said, what you need to do is have a plan. You accomplish what you can accomplish for that day. This young lady said, while you're making that plan, you need to ensure that you give this business idea that you claim that you want to do, that you say you want to be your life, because entrepreneurship ain't no 9 to 5. It's 24/7, 369. 400 days a year.
25/8.
Okay, 400 days a year.
It ain't
25/8.
ain't no off time. No. Now, I'm fortunate because my wife has a good job, but understand something. Y'all black women's, when your man
Yes, we
say,
are.
I'm not finna work no more, I'm finna to do this over here,
Oh.
We just
I've
gonna
been
make
there.
sure he heard from the Lord, okay?
I'm not
Did
finna
God
work no
say
more.
that?
I've been there.
I'm
I've been
finna
there.
do this over here. Now, my
Was
wife is
that the
type
word
A,
of
you
the
feel
Lord?
me? She, him.
Yes. Yes, she is.
I am a cloud man. I've been in the clouds my entire life. When I was 10, I told my mom, I'm going to buy you a very big old house, and I'm going to go to the Olympics, I'm going to play in the NFL, and I'm going to have all the money. I've always lived in there. But then it's different when you want to live in the clouds and you decide to make clouds your residence. How do you live there? So if you're going to decide to leave 9 to 5, first things first, you need to make sure that whatever you're doing, God said do it.
Correct.
You're not doing something that you decide that you want to do.
Correct.
You better make sure that it's God's told you to do it, because if God is telling you to do it, that means those abilities are in you already.
Amen.
You're not manufacturing.
Amen.
When you're trying to manufacture a want, like me wanting to do what you do, me trying to do here, stop it.
Stop.
Right now.
I don't do that.
Don't get started.
Stop.
I don't do that. I would fail. Sorry. I don't like people, so I can't do your job, and I can't do your job. But I can do what I do. I create. How do I turn that in? God told me what to do. When it came to me leaving the job, God said, time to go now.
Yes.
In all of my experience from leaving the military, God has put me in extremely uncomfortable situations to where I was like, I don't need you, goodbye. God did that. Is that the story for everybody? It is not. But I will say this. If you know it's something that you want to do, one, you need to write it out. You need to have a plan. And your 9 to 5 job should be funding the dream that you say you want to have. The 9 to 5 pays for what you say you want to do. And so if you aren't managing your money on that 9 to 5 to do what you want to do, you can't manage what you say you want to do. Because you get holidays. 9 to 5 gives you holidays.
Yes,
9 to
yes, they
5
do.
gives you 6 days. 9 to 5 gives you leave days, medical days. Entrepreneurship gives you none of that. Nobody cares about your dream.
But you.
Your friends don't care. Your friends won't support you. Let's be honest. Your friends ain't going to support you. Your family ain't going to support you. And don't nobody care.
But you.
And when your lights off, you know what they say? Nobody told you to quit your job.
Right.
So if
Faith
you say
killers.
you want to live in the entrepreneur world, a lot of people say they want to run a business, they want to do that, but they have no idea when God wakes you up in the middle of the night and say, go write. Yes. And you're like, what are we writing? And you have to be obedient to that. You don't even know what you're doing. God is guiding it all. Yeah. And the thing is this. I'm a firm believer in this. The way God orchestrated the planet, he orchestrated it so everybody can be successful. Everybody words matter. Whether you believe in God or not, your words have power. So how you speak in regards to what you say you want to do will give you whatever you say. The question is, do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the vigor, the guts, the desire to walk through the storm blind?
Go ahead, because I saw the
I
mic.
was just gonna say,
I did
I'm
see
just
the
looking
mic.
at it, and I'm
Don't
just
take
like,
my follow-up question.
No,
You did it before.
I'm just thinking, do you have the faith to leave your security, to leave your comfort? But for us, it's a comfort we never had in the first place.
Right.
So it's like I can say what I'm
I got
saying
kids.
all day, right? I can say, and I don't. So it's like I can say this all day, but I was gonna say this is why just conversations like this are important, so people can get real transparency in entrepreneurship, because they don't know. So when you say things like, "Are you ready?" we actually need to hear from people who have done this, who have tried it. Like, "Oh, you left? Oh, that's a real thing." I think a lot of us have been silent in our entrepreneurial journeys and left no hope.
I do not support
Kingdom
dreams.
building is building hope.
Right.
You
I'm
know?
not a dream supporter. I'm not.
Okay.
Don't tell me what you want to do with your life. I don't care. And I will not support you.
But you will do.
I will watch. I will watch.
Wait, so what do you support?
So what's the home? What's the take home from that?
What do
You have to want that.
There
You
we
have
go.
to want that.
Okay.
Why do I need to care?
I said, okay.
Why do I need to care about your dreams?
Yeah.
Why?
Now I can speak to the freelancers that are currently like full-time creatives or full-time entrepreneurs, jumping from client to client, gig to gig, because I was definitely in that position, and got to a point where I had a really good, solid client that was stabilizing me in a okay way, but God told me that my time was up there, and I had to walk away. I walked away, and then I got a phone call maybe like 6 weeks later to eventually manage my friend/client because she got a new TV show in LA. So I literally just like left Houston and lived in LA for 2 years and built so many relationships, had so many downfalls. I think this was back 2016, 17, 18, during that time frame. And it was 1 year that I think I made maybe $5,000 for that entire year. But it was the most
Speak to that.
the most the experience I had, the relationships I built, the growth that I experienced, like
You persevered.
That's the real value.
passion and perseverance, like that's true grit, where I literally was leaning on God, and it just kept repeating in my head, like if I continue to help other people get what they want, God will make sure that I get what I want. And it's literally been manifested in my life, like reoccurring. And so, and the other cool thing, and I know a lot of us are getting creative in this space now with the pandemic, and we're having to be innovative, but when you have little to nothing, you get real creative. I've made a lot of cabbage meals that taste really good. Okay. When I was like, wow, this really lasted me throughout the week. Like, going into certain, like I've been in big, agencies and like parties with celebrities and all these different things, and they're like, I'm so glad there's food here, but they don't know that was like the only meal I had that day. So it's just like really trusting God and letting him guide you. And my dad always says, he's like, man, you take this faith thing really seriously, and he believes in God as well, but he's just like, he's very more logical.
Abrahamic faith is different than other faith. Because
Yeah.
there's personal faith and then there's spiritual faith. They own different atmospheres.
True.
And so when I'm like, I don't care about your dreams, that's legit. Because I live in spiritual faith land. I don't live in personal faith. So what she's talking about, having $5,000 for a year, when you are really moved, people watch.
Yeah.
And it's when people know that, oh, you are in it for real.
Yeah.
It took years for my brother to take me serious about my craft. Years. And my brother, I consider him like Moses, because he was like, you don't follow dreams. You get a job. And I was like, I don't do that.
Yeah, I definitely have friends like, why don't you just get a job? And mind you, we're getting in our late 20s, people getting married, wanting me to be a bridesmaid. And I'm just like, okay, girl, I'm signing up. We're going where? What trip? Okay, let's figure this out. But it happened. I made it happen. And so you have to go into it with positive intent, knowing
Yes.
that God is your source.
Yes.
And it has to be a daily practice. And you just can't allow those other influences to dominate your mind. I mean, it's the
Reality.
power of the mind, honestly. And you create your own reality. And so I've finally, just this past 6 months, finally am in my own place now, where I'm like, I've done the couch thing. I've lived on, so it's like, it's all part of the journey. And you just have to keep knowing, like, this is temporary. You just got to keep going and knowing that it's temporary.
It's all a part of the journey. And what I've also noticed, and we had a little prelim discussion prior, and I was like, save it, don't give too much of it. But it's a faith walk. And everybody's faith walk is different. It's
Yeah.
unique to
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
And it's unique. It's definitely unique when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, everybody has their own faith walk, but when you don't have the every 2 week check or the week check or the set salary, or I can get overtime to compensate for, I need to do this with the family, so let me work a couple of extra hours of overtime. And
Yeah.
you said it best when you made the point where we have to remember that God is our source.
Yes.
Because whether I am in entrepreneurship or whether I am in a corporate 9 to 5, the 9 to 5 can get snatched. I mean, we are in the middle of
Secure as they.
just,
Yeah.
we are aware.
That's right.
We're living in
He said,
true
"I'm in control."
4K, which is what we're doing with our theme. It can come and then it can go. So it is so important. I'm so glad you all brought up the aspects about faith. I'm glad that you spoke to the two differences in it. The fact that we need to seek wisdom from God, right?
Yeah.
And incorporate that in every single aspect of our lives. And that it is a journey. Life is a journey, but this entrepreneurship process, that's a
asked for-
whole journey.
What you ask God for is indicative to the journey. So the bigger the request, the harder and longer the journey. Because if you ask God for $1 billion, then that means God has to strip you of everything so that you can respect that $1 billion. So depending on what you ask for, you better be careful, cuz.
I literally said that yesterday. I was like, you have to fall in love with the process. Because
That's
as
right.
you said, like, there's no true ultimate destination. Correct. So as you continue to evolve and grow as a person, your visions are going to get greater. Everything is going to grow. Everything's going to expand. So falling in love with the process is your best bet to find peace and contentment with where you are now. And I've built a more positive relationship with the word content, because before I thought it was more so of like, oh, I'm comfortable, I don't want to change, I'm good where I'm at. But through just my spiritual journey and also being content within my finances and being a good steward, I've learned that, like, being content is being at peace. It's like I'm choosing peace with whatever I have and with wherever I am. And so not sure where that came from, just was trying to circle that back. But yeah, I guess that's the end of my rant. Yeah.